Well, we're here today with Stephen Moore at a response town hall, of course responding to the president being in town. And really what we're talking about today is a real economic growth package for the country, which is low taxes, low spending, and incentivizing so that businesses can grow jobs rather than creating more stimulus packages that don't work, that balance the budget on the backs of the taxpayers and just add more government jobs.
The president's budget reverses the Bush tax cuts. It attacks charitable giving, reduces the mortgage interest deduction, and a series of other tax deductions which you've been accustomed to. On top of that, the 10-year projections for Obama's budget, it'll triple the national deficit from 2008 levels to 2019, and it will raise federal spending by over 25% of GDP, a level not seen since 1945. In addition, a big portion of the president's budget includes adding new jobs. All of those new jobs, or the vast majority, are from the government sector. So this is our tax dollars employing more people to do the same jobs that people are doing now. Right now, the president has proposed adding 2.15 million people to the workforce. Of those, after the census is completed, 1.35 million those will be IRS employees, Department of Energy, Department of Education. Your tax dollars will go to supporting those and their pensions in perpetuity.
Thanks. I feel more at home when I have that sign in front of me. It's something that President Obama ought to take heed to, as well as our governor here in New Hampshire. I want to start out by saying that you may not know this, but Air Force One was carrying some things that he will be selling all across this nation as he goes forward trying to sell his budget. And he is a great salesman. But what he is selling is something that everyone should be aware of. And I bought a bottle of it today. It's called Obama's snake oil. That is exactly what he is peddling across this nation. It is a remedy that he is trying to provide to us with our ailments of higher taxes. And both he, Harry Reid, and Nancy Pelosi, if you don't take it your teaspoon daily, they will hold you down and force it into you, just as they have been doing with the Obama health care. It's interesting that it's been over a year since President Obama took office, and he now, all of a sudden, is talking about jobs, along with our governor, Governor Lynch. For the last year, we knew it was jobs, jobs, jobs. Where have they been? I want to also thank President Obama for coming today, because every time he goes out campaigning, he seems to do the conservative cause justice, as has happened in Virginia, in New Jersey, in Massachusetts. So keep it up, President Obama. What really concerns me is, and this is serious, folks, my wife and I have a 6-year-old grandson, and they have just, their livelihoods have just been mortgaged by President Obama and some help of our governor here. They now owe $40,000 for every man, woman, and child. He's 6 years old. He never had an opportunity to vote on it. That's taxation without representation. And over 200 years ago, there was a Tea Party not too far from here. And there's another party brewing. And it's going to be November of this year.
Right.
America, be careful about the salesman selling snake oil. Thank you.
Many of you probably have seen where I've been very vocal on some of the health care proposals coming out of Washington and the downshifting that was going to happen or could happen to the states.
especially the state of New Hampshire. The healthcare proposal called Obamacare, however you want to call it, it was a liberal big government takeover of the healthcare system, was going to cost the state over 10 years $1.2 billion from our state budget. And nobody seemed to want to talk about that. And I've asked our governor early on in June to come out against some of these proposals, and there was just this, well, we're concerned. Well, you got to do more than concerned. There's a little word here called action. My grandma used to say action, words and action. Action speaks louder than words, she used to say. And that's what we need, and what we need today is action from people like you and every one of you, from the officials here running for office, for their campaigns, for their teams, for every individual here, to go and get 5 more individuals to come to the next event, to keep growing, so that in November, as Tom says, we will make a difference. We'll return this state and this country to fiscal responsibility. Today, or yesterday, when the president talked about his budget, his new budget, I looked at it, and that $40,000, Tom, that you talk about, that every man, woman, and child has inherited as debt, has increased by $5,300 because of his budget. Now, if you think about that, that is debt that we're going to pass to our future generations, unless we can put a stop to that. That's every man, woman, and child. And yes, they have not asked for this. And I can tell you, in essence, what President's budget means to New Hampshire is even worse.
How many of you watched the President's, State of the Union address last week? Anybody? I mean, so everybody saw at least part of it. Did you all catch the buck stops here moment in the President's speech? Yes. When he said he'll take full responsibility for the fact that his healthcare initiative has not passed. Yes. And he said, it's okay, all of you, it's okay. He understands. He obviously has not explained it to you clearly enough. So he has come all the way here to Nashua, New Hampshire, so that he can speak slowly to all of you Granite Staters and explain to you why government takeover of 1/6 of our economy is in your best interest. I have an answer for the President. Mr. President, the problem is not that we are too simple to get it. The problem is simply that we don't want it. Yeah. Today while he was in Nashua, and coming out of a year with double-digit unemployment and record deficits, you would think that we would be hearing a lot of words out of his mouth like cut, balance, save, maybe an old-fashioned no, stop, don't do it. But instead, we're talking about things like a $3.3 trillion budget. We're talking about things like a $1.6 trillion deficit and a $12.4 trillion national debt. That is the kind of debt that crushes economies and will leave an unconscionable burden on future generations.